This Zen sect was introduced into Japan from China in 1654 by Zen master Yin Yuan. Its head temple, built in the Chinese style, is Mampuku-ji, near Kyoto. Opening parenthesis. Abaku is the least influential of the Zen sects in present-day Japan. Om. This sacred syllable is one of the principal mantras in Tantric Buddhism. One more step. A phrase often used by the teacher in Dokusan to imply that the student's mind has reached a point where it needs one final thrust or leap to come to its own self-realization. It is not a definable position, but a state the teacher senses in each individual. Oneness. With a small o, this word means absorption to the point of self-forgetfulness. With a capital O, it refers to the experience of the void or emptiness. Parinirvana. Literally, complete extinction. This term most frequently refers to the passing away of the Buddha. Patanjali. The putative compiler of a book of yoga aphorisms dealing with the philosophy, the disciples, and the techniques of meditation, leading to knowledge of the Godhead. So little is known of Patanjali that guesses as to the date of his work range all the way from the 4th century B.C. to the 4th century A.D. Prajna Paramita Hridaya. This heart of the Prajna Paramita Sutra is recited so frequently in the temple that most Zen students chant it from memory. Its theme is, "Form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness no other than form." Prajna Paramita means literally, the wisdom that leads to the other shore, that is, intuitive wisdom. Precepts. Formally, to become a Zen Buddhist one must be initiated, that is, receive the precepts in a formal ceremony wherein one pledges to give oneself up wholly to the three treasures of Buddhism. To keep the 10 cardinal precepts. To avoid evil and practice goodness. And to strive toward the liberation of every sentient being. Zen Master Dogen has written that the formal taking of the precepts is an essential step toward Buddhahood. The 10 cardinal Mahayana precepts exhort one to refrain from 1. The taking of life, 2. Theft, 3. Misuse of sexuality, 4. Lying, 5. Causing others to abuse drugs or alcohol or doing so oneself, 6. Speaking of the shortcomings of others, 7. Praising oneself and reviling others, 8. Withholding spiritual or material aid, 9. Indulging in anger, and 10. Disparaging the 3 treasures. These are the same for laypeople and monks. The observance of the precepts is important not alone for ethical reasons. Because one cannot progress on the road to enlightenment unless one's mind is free of the inner disturbance which thoughtless or wanton behavior produces. The precepts are the foundation of spiritual practice. Few novices, however, regardless of the strength of their resolve, are able to uphold every one of the commandments, so transgressions in one degree or another are inevitable. Such violations do not debar one from pursuing the Buddha's way provided one acknowledges them, truly repents, and exerts oneself to live by the precepts in the future. Transgressions become less frequent as one advances on the way and through zazen gains in strength and purity and insight. But what is permanently damaging, in fact, fatal to one's spiritual progress, is loss of faith in the Buddha, in the truth he revealed through his enlightenment experience, and in the confirmatory words of the ancestral teachers. In this event, full enlightenment, and with it the eradication of the root source of evil, namely, ignorance and delusion, is virtually impossible. Priest. See, monk. Quote, Pure Land. A metaphorical expression for the world of truth and purity revealed in enlightenment. Pure Land sects. The central doctrine of the Pure Land sects is that all who evoke the name of Amida with sincerity and faith in the saving grace of his vow will be reborn in his pure land of peace and bliss. The most important meditational practice in the Pure Land sects, therefore, is the constant voicing of the words Namu Amida Butsu. In Japanese, this invocation is termed Nembutsu. Nem, yearning for, surrendering to. Butsu, Buddha. The Japanese Pure Land sect was established in 1175 by Honen, a wise and saintly monk. And his illustrious disciple, Shinran, in his turn became the central figure of the Pure Land sect called Jodo Shin or Shin. See also, Amitabha. Quote, Rakusu. A rectangular vestment sewn in a patchwork fashion, symbolizing the patchwork robes worn by the Buddha and his disciples. This, abbreviated robe, hangs over the area of the solar plexus by means of a cloth neck strap and is worn by monks and lay followers of Mahayana Buddhism. Rinzai Gigan, the famed Chinese master of the Tianj period around whose teachings a special sect bearing his name was formed. Rinzai's collected sayings is a text widely used by Rinzai masters in Japan. Rinzai is famous for his vivid speech and forceful pedagogical methods. Rinzai sect. The Rinzai teachings were firmly established in Japan by Fusai. The Rinzai sect is particularly strong in Kyoto, where many of its head temples and monasteries are located. Rohatsu Session. The session commemorating the Buddha's own enlightenment, which is said to have taken place on December 8. It is the severest session not only because it is the coldest, the last before session are suspended for the winter months, but also because the Roshi and the head monks made the heaviest demands upon the participants in order that they may achieve awakening during this session. Roshi. Traditionally, training in Zen is under a Roshi, who may be a layman or a laywoman as well as a monk or priest. The function of a Roshi is to guide and inspire disciples along the path to self-realization. A Zen teacher does not attempt directly to control or influence their private lives. In olden days, Roshi was a hard-won title, conferred by the public on one who had mastered the Buddha's Dharma from the inside, which is to say through a direct experience of truth, who had integrated it into his or her own life, and who could lead others to this same experience. As a minimum, it implied a pure, steadfast character and a mature personality. To become a full-fledged Roshi demanded years of practice and study, full enlightenment, and the seal of approval of one's own teacher, followed by years of ripening through Dharma dueling with other masters. Nowadays the standards are less rigid, but the title Roshi, if it is legitimately come by, is still a title of distinction. Unfortunately, many in Japan today are addressed as Roshi simply out of respect for their advanced age, and little more. Masters in the true sense of the word are rare. Ryutaku-ji, a Rinzai monastery founded by Hakuin, located outside Mishima City in Shizuoka Prefecture, Japan. The dragon. That is, the Oriental, not the Occidental, with its superhuman powers, symbolizes absolute mind. Samadhi. This term has a variety of meanings. In Zen it implies not merely equilibrium, tranquility, and one-pointedness, but a state of intense yet effortless concentration, of complete absorption of the mind in itself, of heightened and expanded awareness. Samadhi and body are identical from the view of the enlightened body-mind. Seen from the developing stages leading to satori awakening, however, samadhi and enlightenment are different. Samantavadra and Manjusri. Samantavadra embodies calm action, compassion, and deep-seated wisdom. He is usually depicted astride a white elephant, the elephant being noted for its tranquility and wisdom. Sitting in attendance on the right of the Buddha, while the Bodhisattva Manjusri, with his delusion-cutting Vajra sword in one hand, sits on the back of a lion on the Buddha's left. Manjusri represents awakening, that is, the sudden realization of the oneness of all existence and the power rising therefrom, of which the lion's vigor is symbolic. When the knowledge acquired through satori is employed for the benefit of humanity, Samantavadra's compassion is manifesting itself. Accordingly, each of the bodhisattvas is an arm of the Buddha, representing, respectively, oneness and manyness. Samsara. See, birth and death. Quote, Sangha. Originally, the Buddhist monastic order, but more generally the community of people practicing the Buddha's way. The Sangha is one of the three treasures, or jewels, of Buddhism, along with the Buddha and the Dharma. Satori. Enlightenment, that is, self-realization, opening the mind's eye, awakening to one's true nature and hence of the nature of all existence. See also, Kensho. Quote, Seiza. The traditional Japanese posture of sitting, with the back straight and the buttocks resting on the heels. Sekitō Kisen. A leading Chinese Zen master of the Tianj period. He acquired the name Sekitō from the fact that he lived in a hut he had built for himself on a large flat rock. Self-realization. The realization of mind. Satori. Sesshū Tōyō. 1420–1506. Not only was Sesshū an accomplished Zen monk who had spent some 20 years at Shōkoku-ji, a large Zen monastery in Kyoto and one of the centers of art, culture, and learning in medieval Japan, but he is generally acknowledged to be Japan's most accomplished master of the suiboku style of painting. The celebrated picture of Bodhidharma and his disciple Hui-k'e, see this page and this page for descriptions, was painted by Sesshū in his 77th year. Shingon. The doctrines and practices of this sect of Buddhism were brought from China to Japan in the 9th century by Kukai, or Kobo Daishi, as he is more popularly known. Shingon discipline and practice revolve around three meditational devices: the mandala, the mantra, and the mudra. See also, Tantric Buddhism. Quote, Shibogenzo Zumunki. A collection of instructional talks and comments by Japanese Zen master Dogen. 1200–1253. Recorded by his disciple successor, Ejo. Shoyo Roku. Ch. Sung Yung Lu. Record of Great Serenity. A Book of 100 Koans.